Okay, so welcome everybody. Also, everybody who is watching on Facebook, and also everybody who will be watching later the recording. So this week, our topic is the secret ingredient to success. And I will actually present something that most of you are not really so much aware of being an ingredient of success. And I will just tell you what this is. This is the austerity or penance. And we will start with reading one short excerpt from Srimad Bhagavatam. And this will be, just a minute, Srimad Bhagavatam. Yes, we will start with Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 17, and text 25. So just offer respects to Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So the translation of the text goes, you are now standing on one leg only, which is your truthfulness, and you are somehow or other hobbling along. But quarrel personified, Kali, flourishing by deceit, is also trying to destroy that leg. And I will read portion of the commentary. The principles of religion do not stand on some dogmas or man-made formulas, but they stand on four primary regulative observances, namely austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. The mass of people must be taught to practice these principles from childhood. Austerity means to accept voluntarily things which may not be very comfortable for the body, but are conducive for spiritual realization. For example, fasting. Fasting twice or 4 times a month is a sort of austerity which may be voluntarily accepted for spiritual realization only, and not for any other purposes, political or otherwise. So I will stop here. I'll stop here, and I will say something about just a little bit of an introduction into our today's topic of austerity, but then I will actually go much deeper. And I see that somebody already joined our Facebook Live. So if you want to give your input, some thought and some question, then we can go even still deeper. But first, I would like to just present this topic and explain it to a certain extent. So I already explained in the title of this today's Facebook Live that we will discuss about the secret ingredient to success. And so you may wonder, how does austerity, what does austerity have to do with the success? Actually, it has to do a lot, really a lot. Even from material point of view, if you just consider people who are extremely successful, they do a lot of austerity. For example, if we take an example of Elon Musk, the most wealthy man on the planet, he is working 14 hours a day. So he is performing a lot of austerity. Like his every second, every minute, basically, is dedicated to pursuing his goals, to achieve whatever he wants to achieve. And he is getting a lot of success. But of course, my whole purpose in giving this class is not to speak about how to achieve material success, because we do understand, everyone who is on the spiritual path, and most of you who are watching these videos are on the spiritual path. Either you practice bhakti yoga or some other spirituality, and we understand that the most important success is actually spiritual success. So from this point of view, it is then very important that we consider these four principles. These are the primary principles of spiritual life that are explained in the text that I just read. So this is truthfulness, cleanliness, austerity, and mercy. This is the foundation, the basis of the spiritual life. And actually, Srimad Bhagavatam goes even much deeper. Srimad Bhagavatam actually explains that these four principles are so powerful that if people start following them, then all the evils of the present day society will be diminished, will be eradicated, and the peace and prosperity will come back into human society. So these are very, very important principles, and this is why I have chosen today to speak about one of them. So we will speak about austerity. We could read actually in the commentary that austerity is something, it's an activity which cause some, you could say, discomfort or pain or suffering, but it is voluntarily accepted. So a person will voluntarily accept some discomfort for a higher cause, to achieve a higher cause. And this is also what we are doing on the spiritual path. And now I would like to go one step deeper and help us understand a little more what is the real essence of the austerity, because it is actually something really beautiful and really inspiring. So I'm very, very inspired by this, so I want to share this. So for this, we will go to Srimad Bhagavatam. This is Canto 2, Chapter 9, Text 23. And in this text, we can read, this is actually, if I can just tell the background here is that the Supreme Lord is speaking to Lord Brahma. And this is after Lord Brahma was actually undergoing very, very severe austerity, very severe penance, meditation. For 1,000 years, like this is quite difficult what he was doing. And here the Supreme Lord is explaining to him, and he is speaking. O sinless Brahma, you may know from me that it was I who first ordered you to undergo penance when you were perplexed in your duty. Such penance is my heart and soul, and therefore penance and I are non-different. And then the purport. The penance by which one can see the personality of Godhead face to face is to be understood as devotional service to the Lord and nothing else, because only by discharging devotional service in transcendental love can one approach the Lord. Such penance is the internal potency of the Lord and is non-different from him. Such acts of internal potency are exhibited by non-attachment for material enjoyment. So I will stop here. And I want to stress again these two statements, that such penance is my heart and soul, and therefore penance and I are non-different. And then in the commentary, such penance is the internal potency of the Lord and is non-different from him. So this is something really, really amazing. This is really, really amazing because we can actually see that the Supreme Lord is saying that the penance and him are non-different, and the penance or austerity is his heart and soul. So for every one of us who are on the spiritual path, sometimes we may feel uninspired or unmotivated. We don't want to do some kind of austerity, some kind of difficulty, because we are afraid, oh, I don't want, this is too uncomfortable for me. I don't want to do this. I like to be comfortable. But if we meditate on this point, that the penance is actually the heart of the Lord, and it's not different from him, and it's actually the internal potency, then it actually gets a completely different, we get a completely different perspective, And actually what really happens when a person, especially a devotee, is performing some kind of austerity, and austerities can be different. Like here, we were reading that fasting, for example, on a fasting day or festival day or Ekadashi, is considered austerity, but there are also many other austerities. And one of the most important austerities on the spiritual path is to carry out the order of the guru, to carry out the order of the spiritual master. This is actually considered the highest austerity and the most important austerity, because in order to really carry out his instruction, his order, one has to go through many difficulties, many times, many difficulties. And there may be many obstacles. And if one is still determined to carry out this order, then it is actually can be concluded that the person is performing the highest austerity. So this is the austerity. So I would like to explain a little bit what does it mean that the penance or austerity is the internal potency. So what does this actually mean? This is something really wonderful. And I would like to explain it like this, that we know about the three modes of material nature, which are called the three gunas. These are three modalities, three invisible forces, or better to say, three invisible ways in which material energy is acting in this material world. So when we have the attitude of a normal person in this world, like just a regular person in this world, who simply wants to be happy here by enjoying life, then we are captured by these ropes, by these modes, and we are conditioned. And we basically, we become miserable. We have to suffer all kinds of difficulties and sufferings. But when we engage in austerity or penance, we actually come under the shelter of the spiritual potency, the spiritual energy. And this spiritual energy actually protects us from the influence of these three modes. This is actually how we can rise above the influence of the three gunas, of the three modes of material nature. So this is one easy way how we can become free from this influence, by performing austerity. And this is also explained in another place in Srimad Bhagavatam. And I would really like to share with you also this. And this is one very, very famous text, which is actually, it has been spoken by saintly king Rishabhadev. And the saintly king was giving instructions to his sons. He had many, many sons, and he was giving them spiritual instructions. And I will read this verse because it's really powerful. So Lord Rishabhadeva told his sons, my dear boys, of all the living entities who have accepted material bodies in this world, one who has been awarded this human form should not work hard day and night simply for sense gratification, which is available even for dogs and hogs that eat stool. One should engage in penance and austerity to attain the divine position of devotional service. By such activity, one's heart is purified. And when one attains this position, he attains eternal, blissful life, which is transcendental to material happiness and which continues forever. So isn't this absolutely wonderful? Isn't this really exciting? So King Rishabhadev is encouraging his sons to perform tapo divyam, divine austerity, divine penance. And this divine austerity, this divine penance will purify their heart, and then it will enable them to enjoy Brahma Sokyam Tvanantam. Brahma Sokyam Tvanantam. Brahma Sokyam means spiritual happiness, spiritual bliss. And Anantam means unending. So this really is the highest, the ultimate success. If we agree that the goal of a human life is to be happy, then we must also agree that the highest happiness is happiness which never ends. And the happiness which never ends is the Brahma Sokyam, the spiritual happiness. And here is the key, how to achieve this ultimate success through austerity, through performing tapodivyam, divine austerity. And thinking, yeah, okay. So just this. Actually, here I wanted to read just a little bit of this purport. I don't know if I will find it. Yeah, so I'll just stop here. So if we are actually performing our austerities as they have been given to us by our spiritual teachers or mentors, by the instructions that we can find in this sacred literature, the Vedas, Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, then we are performing the divine austerity. The divine austerity will purify our heart. And then, as we were discussing in one of our previous classes, then our spiritual senses, which are actually the super senses, super senses, Srila Prabhupada is calling them the super senses. The spiritual senses become awakened. And with the spiritual senses, then we can really enjoy. We can enjoy unlimited happiness. And it is worth. It is worth all endeavor. It is worth all trouble. It is worth this effort. It is worth to take some pain to perform these austerities so that we can actually come to this point. And now, before I end, I would like to add one more thing regarding the austerity. And this is another text from the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, in which the Supreme Lord is also speaking to Lord Brahma. Because here I also have to explain this story about Lord Brahma. Why was Lord Brahma performing austerity? Because when he came to life, when he was born, Lord Brahma was actually born on a lotus flower. And when he was born, he actually couldn't really understand nothing. He couldn't understand who he is, what was the world about. Actually, there was not much to see at that point. Like, all the planetary systems were not existing at that time yet. And he actually, and then he heard the words tapa, tapa. And he was very intelligent. So then he engaged in the performance of meditation. And you know what was his meditation? He was meditating on the sacred sound of the Hare Krishna mantra. And through this meditation, which he performed for many, many years, for 1,000 years, he actually became empowered to create the entire universe, all the different planetary systems, because Lord Brahma, he's also known as the secondary creator. So, and in this text that I would read for you now, this is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 9, Text 24. Here, the Lord continues and he speaks to Brahma. I create this cosmos by such penance. I maintain it by the same energy, and I withdraw it all by the same energy. Therefore, the potency is penance only. So this is something really, 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 really important for us to understand. That actually the potency to create something, to really achieve something, and of course to obtain the success, to achieve the success, is through the austerity. This is the principle. Penance or austerity is the principle which gives the potency for achieving success and for creating whatever one wants to create. And here at the end of this commentary, we have, again, as I mentioned it before, the order is received from the Lord directly or through the bona fide spiritual master, and to execute that order, however painstaking, is the severe type of penance. One who follows the principle rigidly is sure to achieve the success in attaining the Lord's mercy. So I will end here. Actually, I will just do a little recap, and I would like to invite you, all of you who are present here, who are watching Facebook Live, if you can just write me some questions, and I will be happy to answer them. So in the meantime, while I'm waiting for you to write your questions, I'll just do the recap. Okay, I'm looking here. Okay, we have one commenter here. Oh. Okay, so I have a question here. Is it possible to have this seminar in Slovenian language? Well, this page now is for English-speaking audience, but I have another page, and this is the page which is the Holistični Inštitut Harmonija. On that page, I have regular Facebook Live classes on Thursday morning, 8 a.m. Slovenian time. So you can listen me there in Slovenian. But here on this page, we are only in English language, because there are also many other. It's meant for English-speaking audience. So yeah. So if anybody has any question, then you can write this question here now. Okay, I'm waiting. And in the meantime, I will just do the little recap. So the topic of today's class was austerity or penance. And I started with one text which from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, which actually explains that there are 4 basic principles of Dharma or religion. And they are actually the basis of everything auspicious in this world. And they bring about peace and prosperity for the entire society. And then I was explaining a little more about what austerity is, especially for someone who is on the spiritual path. Because for us, we understand that the real success is spiritual success. Material success is secondary. Most important is spiritual success. And we saw there was one text which actually described that the Lord himself described that the austerity or penance is his heart and soul, and it represents, it's actually his spiritual energy, potency, his spiritual energy. So when we engage in these spiritual austerities, tapo divyam, then we come under the shelter of the spiritual energy, the spiritual potency. And we also checked a little bit the instructions of King Rishabhadev to his sons, the princes, in which he advised them to take upon themselves these tapodivyam, spiritual austerities, to achieve the highest success, which is unending spiritual happiness. Brahma sokyam tvanantam. And this is also something that every one of us should do. And the concluding words were that the highest austerity really is to follow the instruction, the order of the guru, however painstaking this may be. And one who has dedicated his life to follow the order of the guru will for sure achieve ultimate success. So let me see, is there, okay, I don't see any question. Okay, I have some people watching, but there are no questions. So, okay, if there's no questions, then I will just stop here. I will thank you for your attention. And I invite you also to come next week at the same time. We will discuss the third principle because I already discussed about the truthfulness. And today we were discussing about austerity, and the next week we will discuss about the principle of mercy. Why is it important? And we will also go deeper into it. So thank you very much.